as a part of my series of lectures on soft skills and personality development, I would like to talk to you about the art and skill of listening. This is very important because often people believe that only speaking is communication and listening is not. They believe listening is only submission. Listening is only an activity that shows loss of confidence. Therefore, they feel speak they must something, somehow, as quickly as possible. This is why often communication fails. Please remember, in communication, in the art of communication, somebody becomes more mature if he knows how to listen well. Otherwise, from where does he get his content for speaking? Let's understand, all speech begins with listening, because it is listening from which we develop and we collect the content for our speech. This is why we listen very keenly. This is why we need to understand and cultivate Ho, the art of listening. Then there are more reasons as to why we need to listen better. There are psychological reasons also. The reason is, it is a way of flattering the speaker. More keenly you listen, the speaker feels flattered and he feels empathetic to his listener. He speaks more, he tells us more, and often that act of telling itself solves the problem, if there is any. He has to speak out things. So listening is a way of empathizing. The development of empathy through listening is something which is very important, which is a very important dimension of communication. This is also the reason why one should listen. As communicators, therefore, please listen more. Listening is not an activity involving the loss of confidence. Listening is not submission. Listening involves as much confidence as is required for speaking also. So listening is only a complementary to speaking. Listening is the point from where all speech begins. Therefore, let us listen. Then, how to listen? Listen very deeply, as deeply as possible. We can say there are broadly two ways of listening. One is logical listening. Keep a framework, mental framework, questions ready. Keep some questions, advanced questions in the mind as to what is he likely to speak, what is he telling, trying to analyze in the mind. Logical way of listening. Listen to the logical points and listen, and keep listening from a logical point of view, developing logic. Easy speaking facts, easy telling truth. What is the veracity of the facts? How is it organized? What is the content? Is the content truthful? Logical questions. So this is one way of listening where we try to understand the logic of speakers' words or the truth behind the speaker's words. This is one way of listening, logical listening. This is also very important because we grasp more. Here, even we can make points when we listen this way, focusing on the prominent words, focusing on the key indicators of what he is talking. This is the first way of listening, listening for logic and facts. The second way of listening is different. That is empathetic listening. Listen with empathy. That is, listen with sympathy, lot of understanding. Here, definitely we focus on the facts. But facts themselves are not very important. Facts themselves do not judge the perspective. Rather, we try to understand his emotions. We try to understand his context, his situation when the speaker is speaking. So this gives us another key into his heart and mind. Empathetic listening. Listen with empathy. It's important to keep the eyes of empathy also open, because logical way of listening could be blind without an empathetic listening. When we listen with empathy, again, the speaker tells us more things. He tells us his heart and mind. He tells us the real situation. And this listening is also a healing. And this listening is something that develops very deep bonds between the speaker and the listener. Well, the point is this: listen in both ways. Keep logic, then at the same time keep empathy. And when we are able to put together an empathetic listening and a logical listening, the listening that is based on a series of questions, we understand the speaker's perspective better. We understand him better. We can grasp him better. And we can correct our approaches if necessary. And we can understand where is the point of conflict. We can understand where is really the problem. So, put together empathy and logic, you are a better listener. And then you become a wholesome personality. Not only a very capable person who can deliver things through communication, but also an outstanding individual who can be trusted. Because at the end of the day, developing a sense of trust is what is all communication bothered about. Until and unless someone has developed trust of his people, he doesn't become a leader. He doesn't become successful. Developing trust, bond, and empathy happens through listening. This is why, please understand, many people used to listen more and speak less. Abraham Lincoln, Gandhi. Not only that, many people used to keep one day in a week for listening. That is to go silent. And when they remained silent, they understood people more. Therefore, listen more. After all, God has given us 2 ears and 1 mouth to listen more and speak less.